I can't actually see you, Mike. You got to move over. Like, yeah.
Oh,
It gets center. Oh, we're recording.
I'll move the camera up.
We're recording 5, 4, 3, 2. Take the rest of the podcast coming to you on draft night. NFL draft night's here, and we're watching draft, live. I'm your host, Ernest. EJ Christian coming to you alongside Mike Bernier, Joe Lopez. Folks, it's been 2 weeks. What's up, man?
Nothing. I was definitely not just asleep 5 minutes ago.
Bullshit. Mike?
Any of you that think that drafting one offensive lineman is going to save Joe Burrow's ACL can all go fuck yourselves.
So I think you're not really happy with your pick, huh?
I love our pick. I think they're going to be an explosive offense. Here's the thing. I could go sign 13 guys that are like 6'7", 385 pounds that work out at the gym 7 days a week to play offensive line. Cool. I need explosive playmakers to pair up with Joe Exotic, and I got it in Jamar Chase. So Tiger King and the guy who he threw 20 touchdowns to 2 seasons ago. Hell yeah.
Factual. Joe, you're not a Jet fan anymore, right?
No, I gave up on the Jets last year.
He gave up.
New York
No.
anymore.
He
Why would I
quit.
still be a Jets fan?
Joe quit that narcotic with the quickness.
I mean, was it quick? It was just like I was a fan for 10 years. I've
I've only known you for like 2 years. So.
I was a fan through fucking like butt fumble and all that shit. Like I gave them time.
Let's go to the Giants, dude. They're on the corner.
No. Ew. I have to have some sort of self-respect.
Oh, fuck off then. I'm a Giant fan. Fuck off.
So the real question here is,
Like, be a Giants fan. I might as well just become a fucking like Jaguars fan. Like, what the fuck?
Might as well. You're not different anymore. You're a free agent.
No, I'm closely settled, close to Seattle, because I like them.
Whoa. Whoa.
Who was
Whoa,
the other
Craig.
team
Craig got a hard on. Who said that?
I forgot who the other team was that I liked. There was another team.
Not the Giants.
No. Again, I have good taste.
Wow. You got rings, you got fucking problems. I don't know what to tell you.
Craig said the Chiefs.
Ooh.
Kansas City. See, my problem with Kansas City is that as a city, it's just kind of boring.
Is it really?
I mean, I'm assuming so. What the fuck happens in Kansas City?
The Chiefs.
Barbecue.
It's royalty.
You know where else barbecue takes place?
Texas.
Dallas.
I mean, yeah.
We're going back to the Pecan Lodge.
Yes. Yes.
Mania season. Mania 38.
Oh.
Anyway, so this podcast is subscribed on all podcast catchers such as Spotify, Stitcher Radio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and all that. Of course, YouTube as well too. Earnestly Media found that, of course, on all social media, of course. Anyway, so we've been gone for 2 weeks, and
I want to shift, so I only see your ear.
What do you got? An iPad or a fucking iPhone right now using?
Point for that. Let's go. No, it's on my tripod. But my tripod.
No, Joe. I'm asking Joe. I know your situation.
I'm on my iPhone. What the fuck?
iPhone. I don't know. Anyway.
You
All right. Uh-oh. I heard a kid. I heard a kid. Told you, the earlier we go, the better chance of getting the show in, but he's awake.
Hi,
now,
Logan.
you fucker. Logan's not in the room yet, but he's coming. I can hear him. He's behind the doors. So, where should we go first? Should we go my topic first, or should we go with so my topic is actually pretty interesting. I would
go with yours to start in case he walks in and you have to go put him to bed.
Yeah, because my topic off the bat, I'm gonna tell you right now, and that way we're gonna conclude maybe our tag team brackets that we started last month, which by the way I'm excited about, and Joe's topic's pretty interesting to you too as well. We're gonna do a draft honorary topic on his end. First off, my topic I swerved on because I actually had another topic coming in until an hour ago, and I want to discuss really about AEW and Impact and its relationship. As you saw, if you guys watched the Impact pay-per-view this past, is it Rebellion was it called?
Yeah. So EJ, tell me exactly how did you like Impact pay-per-view?
I did not watch it. I did not watch.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
I'm so shocked. I'm really glad you've done the proper research for the topic that you brought to the table tonight.
Yeah, but
Thank
I'm not.
you so much.
You're welcome.
You're the Michael Cole of fucking podcasting.
Hey, 23. How long has Michael been in WWE
What
now?
a maneuver!
24 years. Down the barricade. Anyway, no. So anyway, I just want to discuss.
That is vintage Earnest.
Yeah. No, but seriously, Kenny Omega beat Rich Swann to win the Impact World Title. So now
some of us actually watched the show and we know this. Yes.
Yes. So
have you watched?
Say it again.
Huh?
How many Rich Swann matches have you watched, Ernest?
None yet.
Did you know that he was nicknamed the Macaroni?
I didn't know Rich Swann was black until literally 2 days ago.
What? Stop. What?
I didn't know he was black until 2 days ago until I saw the highlights of the match.
He may have actually been in the 2020 Royal Rumble.
Oh, I can't.
No. Shut up.
Yo, Ernest, spoiler alert. Sheamus is Irish. Like, I just sit down. I don't want you to fall over in shock.
I had no clue Rich Swann was black until literally after that match.
God.
So,
anyway. Ernest, I've got something to tell you about New Day. Just prepare.
I'm holding on. What is it? That was good.
It's good news.
No, but seriously though, I just want to discuss more so the relationship with Impact AEW because initially when they started doing this cross promotion the last couple months, at the start I was kind of excited about it. It's like, okay, some new blood in there, we'll see what happens. And with COVID, anything it's fresh or not. What about now? What 3 months into this thing now? A little more than that because Don Callis was involved in the match with Moxley and Omega back in December. What's that?
It's like the whole year, basically. I think they did that happened at like the first week of January, didn't it?
Well, December 16th, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I just more so want to get, I was just excited about this whole thing, but now I'm kind of like, okay, where's this going? Obviously, Omega is now the Impact champion. He's done 3 titles now: TNA championship, the Impact championship, and now the AEW, of course, championship. Like,
so those are the same titles. If you know,
right.
Rich unified them against Moose at the other pay-per-view before. His third title is actually the AAA title that he's defended like -3 times against Laredo Kid or whoever the fuck.
That's amusing to me because, and it goes to show you, number one, how little American fans understand Mexican wrestling and lucha libre, and also two, how much titles really are just kind of props half the time. That title that he's carrying around from AAA, I think it's technically their top like singles title, which is great. But it's a company that's built around like the trios and tag teams and stuff. So being the singles champion in AAA is kind of like being the 24/7 champion in WWE. It doesn't actually do that much for you, but it's another shiny thing for Kenny Omega to carry around. So good for him.
So where's this going? How do you feel about this whole merger so far, this whole partnership so far? Do you guys like it? You guys okay? You guys think there could be more on the horizon that you could be excited about? Where do you guys have this thing?
So, Mike, do you want to go first or you want me to take this?
The fact that Kenny Omega's held that title for 558 days is fucking atrocious, by the way.
I mean, has he even like defended it over in Mexico at all? He probably couldn't even get there.
Which title? The TNA title? Which one?
The play one. He has.
Oh, right.
He has four
titles, right? Yeah.
Like, wait.
Right.
He has 4 defenses of the title since he's won it in almost 600 days. Joe, you can go first. I actually want to see where his defenses were while you talk.
So, okay. Like I just got done saying in a roundabout sort of way, I did order the Impact pay-per-view this past Sunday. I don't know, Mike, did you end up watching it?
Not all of it, but I got through a big chunk of it.
Right. So, and what drew me to the pay-per-view 100% was Kenny Omega versus Rich Swann. Now, granted, that got my interest up, and then I looked at the card, and the entire card looked really good to me, which also, it made me willing to spend the, I think, $40 or whatever it was on the pay-per-view itself. It wasn't just Omega and Rich Swann, but that is definitely what at least brought me to the dance, as it were. That's what made me say, okay, do I want to even watch this pay-per-view to begin with? And, you know, I'm a long-term Impact fan. I used to watch the pay-per-views when they were on weekly back in 2002. I gave up on the company at a certain point, like we all have. My time, I believe, was circa like 2011 or so. And I just never quite got back into the company. Like, I here and there, I flirt with it. I don't know that I'd be flirting with it right now. And definitely having Omega there, having the Good Brothers who are part of the Impact roster, but show up on AEW every week. So again, you know, it brings eyes to the Impact show that you wouldn't necessarily have if they weren't showing up on AEW every week. And that raises my interest. So that's the thing, like for me, if the whole idea of this partnership, and you got to look at it, because so far, it's not like Impact is being made to look strong. It's not like Impact is out there with their guys winning a lot of matches. There's no Impact tag team that's like taking the AEW tag titles. You don't even have an Impact guy winning like the TNA title, the TNT title rather, or anything like that. So far, the way it's been structured, Impact is kind of just a like a playing ground for the AEW guys so far. Mostly Kenny Omega, because there's not actually been a lot of other guys who have even jumped over. Like I think, you know, they were supposed to have Sammy for a minute, and that didn't end up happening.
Private there for like 3 matches.
Yeah, Private Party like became #1 contenders for the tag belts and then lost, and then that was kind of the end of that. Right. So I feel like in a weird way, I feel like the relationship though is working out because it's giving AEW kind of another platform to have their guys on. Now, granted, is that doing a ton for AEW in terms of bringing fans over that have never seen their product? No, probably not. I'm pretty sure if you're watching AEW, if you're watching Impact, chances are like you've probably seen AEW, or at least you're aware that it exists. And if you wanted to be watching it, you already would be. It doesn't take your title showing up on the AEW show for you to be a fan. Like, I don't think anyone in the year 2021 is a super diehard Impact Wrestling fan to the point where that's all that they watch, you know? So this isn't having that effect. For Impact, I think it's having an effect of bringing some eyes over that wouldn't be watching otherwise. I think the fact that we're talking about Impact on our podcast when only like 2/3 of us are even remotely aware of what's going on in Impact says enough about the attention that's being brought to it. Because, like, honestly, Ernest, you don't know what the fuck Impact Wrestling is. If it wasn't for Kenny Omega showing up this past week and winning their title, we wouldn't be talking about it.
Outside of Good Brothers and maybe that's it. Good Brothers. That's all I know.
Right. And one thing that I find super interesting is the fact that at this point, all of the main titles in Impact are held by talents that aren't technically in Impact. You have Omega as the world champion, and you have FinJuice, who are New Japan talents, as the tag champions. I find that really fascinating because at the end of the day, like Impact is sort of building itself to being this kind of place where teams from different places, wrestlers from different organizations can come in and have this like meeting ground that you wouldn't get these matches otherwise, but you're getting them here. You know, there's a lot of talk with AEW about the Forbidden Door and all of that. And, you know, Mortal Kombat, I don't know if you guys have watched that movie.
Don't care to see it either.
Came out. It's really good. Check it out. I'm a fan.
Really?
Yeah, I
you were only the third person I've heard say that's good.
And it was super cheesy.
I mean,
I can see cheesy, obviously, but
5-1. That's all I'm saying. Like, it wasn't great, and there's clearly a lot of room for them to grow. But this isn't a movie review thing. Anyway, all I'm saying is though,
bonus podcast.
In the world of Mortal Kombat, there's a certain realm where everyone goes to fight. I feel like Impact is trying to be that realm where it's like, hey, New Japan guys. Hey, AEW guys. Hey, maybe AAA guys or CMLL or whoever anyone's willing to work with these days. Come on over. Let's have a meeting ground here in the middle. It's sort of like Pro Wrestling Guerrilla back in the day where, like, you would get, like, the big Ring of Honor talents and the big Impact Wrestling talents, and you wouldn't see them wrestle anywhere against each other anywhere else but in PWG. I feel like that's what Impact is sort of trying to be right now, and I'm kind of here for it. I think that's a great way to be right now, especially if you have the luxury of being this company that everyone seems to be willing to work with. Like, other than WWE, every wrestling company seems to be willing to work with Impact. I don't understand why, but they are. So you might as well take advantage of it. So no, I think that the relationship is doing wonders. Maybe AEW in theory isn't getting that much out of it, and I do sort of wonder like why AEW is so involved, other than the fact that Don Callis is super involved in Impact and obviously super involved with Kenny Omega, like just as a business thing. I'm assuming that's the main reason why this is kind of happening. Because you're right, I don't actually see anything that AEW is super benefiting from this. Like, what are they really getting out of this? Having the Good Brothers show up every week? I don't know how much value you're getting out of them and their stupid fucking like masturbation jokes. So I don't know what AEW is getting out of it, but I like it. And if I'm Impact, I'm like, please don't ever stop. Because, like, honestly, Rich Swann was their world champion until a week ago. I think that says a lot. And I'm not hating on Rich Swann. I mean, like, you know, someone's got to hold the Intergender Championship of the world. So, at the end of the day, like, if I'm Impact, I'm like, yay, let's keep this going. If I'm AEW, I'm sure I'm getting something out of it.
Yeah, I'm not big on the hype as you are with it for multiple reasons. One of which, I don't feel like Impact is really getting anything except for Kenny Omega on their show. They're not getting even second or third tier members of the AEW roster on the show. This is the perfect place to put people that are on AEW Dark, your top flights, the Acclaim, the women's division. You could have them go over and face the Jordan Graces and the Deonna Purrazos of the world, the Tennille Dashwoods. But you're not getting any of that. This is the opportunity that you could have. You know, Sean Spears could go over there and be in a 2-week feud with Eddie Edwards and have good matches and beat Eddie Edwards and put the Pinnacle over even more, leading into blood and guts. But instead, we're not getting any of that. We're getting Kenny Omega being the belt collector. We're being Kenny Omega being this fucking comic book villain that he thinks he is, playing this cheesy heel gimmick. Again, like, okay, in ring, that match against Rich Swann, yes, great match.
Mm-hmm.
Post-match, back to being a fucking cartoon character. Wednesday night with the whole fucking Michael Nakazawa versus Eddie Kingston thing. He was a comic book character. We've talked about on the show before. If I wanted comic book Kenny, like, I'd go watch DDT Kenny. Like, if I want the cleaner and the guy who's the best bout machine and the title collector and all of that, like, can't be that cheesy heel that he's being right now. So I don't think Impact's really getting much of anything. If it opened the door for FinJuice to be there because the door is open with AEW and it's like they're only getting New Japan talent because of AEW, then fine. Their big hold is the fact that FinJuice has their titles. I don't know if FinJuice is bringing them out to the ring at New Japan shows. I haven't been watching any of the New Japan shows recently. If they are, that's great notoriety for Impact because now New Japan fans can see, oh, what is this company? They may not know Impact. So that's beneficial for Impact that FinJuice are their champions. But AEW is literally, it's like, here's Kenny Omega for a video package. Here's a paid-for program package of Tony Schiavone and Tony Khan every week pushing something. And then here's the Good Brothers coming out swinging title belts from their junk. Do anything.
Can I also say, too, I'm already really over dorky heel Tony Khan that shows up on Impact on a basis, including on the pay-per-view. It's like he's doing this character that's like Mr. McMahon meets Elon Musk.
Yeah,
and it's
can't stand
really,
it now. It's
really bad. It's like, I don't even know how exactly to explain
dorky
it.
Bad. He's like wrestling older guy, but it comes off really bad. Like,
it's
dude,
like,
stop.
Remember when Sami Zayn was getting on my nerves because he was just being a dork? It's like that, except that there's not going to be some sort of good match as a payoff to it because Tony Khan's not wrestling. I hope not. Tony, if you're listening, don't wrestle. Don't do it.
So I don't think that Impact's doing enough, or getting enough, because they're also not winning anything.
They're not winning a thing.
It's not even like you're getting FinJuice beating Top Flight or,
right.
Private Party, or Josh Alexander's defending the X Division title against Sammy and beating Sammy. Like, we're not even getting like any of their members of their roster even on Dark to win a match. So it's literally, Impact was like, oh, you can help us get Finn Juice, which then can get us some notoriety maybe over in Japan. And all we have to do is let Kenny Omega come in, win both of our world titles, and then not have a guy on our roster that you're realistically going to let beat him.
Yeah.
Who's winning the titles from Kenny? Or is Kenny just going to look up one day after he has all the titles and go, like Lord of the Rings, and just throw the fucker in the fire and be like, meh. And then
there's got to be a payoff at some point, right? So setting it back, I'm sorry, you cut up a little bit. Say that one more time, the last part you said. The last line.
What? That's going to be Lord of the Rings, where they're just going to look down, he's going to look at the titles and be like, all right. Throw him in the fire.
I mean, it's definitely a thing where he's not losing the Impact title until he loses the AEW title. Probably. And we're nowhere near him losing the AEW title. I mean, we're barely near having anyone established to even challenge for the title right now in a way where he's not even going to lose it. Like, you have guys who you could believably make title contenders. Aren't we like 4 weeks away from a pay-per-view? Yeah. Like what pay-per-view? Because I know Blood and Guts is next week. Right. I don't know why they didn't save that for the pay-per-view.
All In? No, Double or Nothing.
Right. Double or Nothing is what? May. What?
End of May.
Okay. So we're like 4 weeks out from a pay-per-view that there's not really any sort of established card for. And one of the matches that you would have assumed would be a big place for them to go to is happening on TV next week. Way too soon, by the way. Like, I'm excited with all the buildup that they've done for Blood and Guts, but it's way too soon for this feud to be in that level of a match. But I digress. Mm-hmm. I don't see anyone right now. Like, yeah, Hangman Page is the number one ranked guy. You just had him losing to Brian Cage on TV this past week. Obviously, the way they deal with the records and stuff, it doesn't actually matter that Page is the ranked number one guy. He's not going to end up being the guy that gets a title shot. Because if he is, you're blowing that because he should be the guy that eventually wins it, and he shouldn't win it next month. Right, exactly. So Adam Page, probably not the guy that's getting the title shot. You've got Brian Cage who just beat him. Maybe you can work something into there. You've got Christian Cage kind of floating around. You can sort of do something with him. Huh?
That's who it's going to be.
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting because honestly, you've got 4 weeks to get him into a position where he's like 5-0. And all of a sudden, he can wrestle for the title. 6-0? He beat Kazarian.
Stay with me here. Christian wins the Impact title from Kenny Omega.
Okay.
Kenny's like, you're not deserving enough to wrestle for the AEW World title.
Right.
Christian wins a match, wins the Impact. He's like, I'll defend this rinky-dink title against you.
Yeah.
Wins the match, then goes, you know what? Now I deserve an AEW title shot, but you don't get a rematch for this belt. Then Kenny gets the win back.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They get the Impact title to someone of higher value, a.k.a. Christian. Christian then can go and defend the title on AEW and an Impact. You may be able to then get some Impact guys over, not even if they win, but you could have Kazarian and Daniels beat, Eddie Edwards and whoever he's teaming with, Tommy Dreamer, whatever.
Right. But see, now here's my question, though. If we assume that the only thing that Impact is getting out of this is viewers, and the numbers from what I saw about the pay-per-view orders did seem to be high for Impact. They seem to do really well. You have to assume Kenny Omega is a draw. Like, he's one of the reasons, like I said, for me, he's the reason why I checked out the pay-per-view. I'm sure he's the reason why a lot of people checked out the pay-per-view. Are you going to sacrifice that before the next Impact pay-per-view? Because now, on the table, and this is just a rumor, I think it's a rumor that Impact is like kind of fanning the flames of a little bit because it looks good for them. There's the potential where the Slammiversary main event is Samoa Joe versus Kenny Omega with the title on the line. Are you sacrificing that to get it to like Christian Is
That's
Christian
summertime, right?
Joe's still a big deal? I mean, Christian is a former Impact champion. He's got a lot of history with the company, so I'm not going to act like he's not a big deal. But I think that's an interesting aspect to it, though, because, like, who knows what kind of numbers Kenny Omega versus Samoa Joe in a first-time match with the title on the line, who knows what that could actually draw. But is that enough to sacrifice not having a champion around for the next, 4 months? Or however long it is until Slammiversary. I think Slammiversary is, July.
Okay, well, it was announced tonight on the Impact show.
Yeah.
The main event for the May 15th pay-per-view will be Kenny Omega versus the winner of a 6-man elimination match at the show titled Under Siege. So they're going to hold 2 qualifying matches. So the month of May is basically taken up. You're going to have someone lose to Kenny in May.
Right.
If July is the move and you're going with Joe and Joe beats him and wins the title from him, cool. Or do you send Joe to the Wolves and just go, you can lose to Kenny just like everybody else? If I'm Joe, am I coming in on my first night back and taking an L?
I mean, the one thing I could say is they could do the thing that you were just saying with Christian, though. Have Joe win the Impact title and then have a right to be like, hey, I deserve a shot at the AEW title. Get him in for the AEW pay-per-view. Not the next one, the one after that. I guess that's against, what is that? Not against All Odds. That's an Impact show. Just All In, All Out, right. So you get Joe in for that, and you have Omega defeat Joe, get his win back. I mean, I think that's a possibility. I think, like we've said, Omega's not losing the AEW title anytime soon. You need some people that he's going to believably beat that matter. You don't want him fighting fucking Jungle Boy on pay-per-view. That's not what's going to give Kenny Omega this big title reign that's going to really establish the belt. Like, that would be a great match on Impact, on Dynamite. That's not going to be a great match at All Out. You know, for All Out, for the pay-per-view that's coming up, you need bigger matches, you know? Like, I kind of have a feeling that the direction we're going with things right now, the pay-per-view at the end of May, we're going to end up getting Kenny Omega versus Eddie Kingston for the title. And not for nothing, that's not a great match on paper. I love Kingston. I'm a big Kingston fan, but, like, you can't tell me that that's the best that you've got. You can't tell me that you're going to actually sell me on Eddie Kingston possibly beating Omega for the title. Like, you could sell me on that if Christian Cage is the guy fighting him, you know? Like I don't think Omega is going to lose, but during the match, am I going to get hyped for some near falls if Christian Cage is the guy in there? Yeah, probably more so than Eddie Kingston, because I don't think you're pulling the trigger on Eddie Kingston like that.
I think that if they sold us on the fact that they were going to have a real exploding barbed wire fucking ring match, that they really think that. So, press. But with the topic at hand, for me to really believe this works, I need somebody from Impact to come over and make a statement. If it's Eddie Edwards, if it's Josh Alexander as the X Division champion, if it's, you know, I don't care who it is. I need someone to come over and win a couple matches on Dynamite. Because, I mean, at this point, if not, all it is, hey, we're letting you borrow Kenny Omega. And I don't know that that's a working agreement. I think that's just Kenny Omega being the executive vice president of the company and doing whatever the fuck Kenny Omega wants.
And they get the Good Brothers in return, which is really just Kenny Omega and Don Callis' friends,
right?
Who come out on Dynamite every week in Kenny Omega's corner and don't do anything from there. Like, can I be honest? When the Young Bucks finally just turned heel and joined with the group, I was really disappointed because I felt like, okay, you've already got the Good Brothers there. You've already got a tag team with Kenny. Now let them do their thing, right? Like, they're the side. They're coming in from Impact. Let them grab the tag belts. Let them feud with the Young Bucks. Let's have something more interesting.
It takes off the shine off. I agree.
Right, exactly. Like, we've ended up just getting the Young Bucks doing the same fucking heel act that they've been doing since 2008 that hasn't been entertaining since 2007. And we are again just watching it, and I'm already over it. I mean, this week, they had a really good match, and that's the thing about the Young Bucks, right? They're always going to go out there and have really good matches. It's the thing with Kenny Omega. It's the thing with a lot of these guys. They're always going to go out there, and regardless of whatever their gimmick is that they're doing right now, regardless of, whatever silliness they're doing, Kenny Omega's out there trying to be an anime villain. The Young Bucks are out there trying to be Seth Rollins. We all see it. And at the end of the day, we know they're still going to deliver in the ring. So that's why we keep watching. That's why it's kind of exciting to still watch it. But you're right. At the end of the day, the characters aren't that great. And it's funny because I keep thinking back to the Broken Skull sessions with Jericho. And it's hard not to obviously think of Jericho with AEW stuff. And Jericho brought up in there how, for him, one of his philosophies in pro wrestling is that every time you get a new character, every time you're changing your gimmick, you're going to a new company, you're heel instead of face, vice versa. You change your look as well, and you change kind of your character and your mannerisms, and you don't go back at all. And it's interesting now looking at like the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, because in the case of Kenny Omega, he's doing something different. He's not doing the cleaner. He's not doing the best bout machine. If I were him, I would have the announcers stop calling me those things. Because when you get referred to as those things, like Jericho said, you bring up people's want to see that. Right. It's like Jericho, at a certain point, he was like, don't you ever call me Y2J again to the announcers. Because when you do that, all you do is bring up a certain character about me that I'm not trying to sell anymore. And I feel like that's something that Omega needs to have that conversation with Excalibur and those guys, because he's doing something different. I don't like what he's doing. I don't like the character that he's trying to play, but I will commend him for at least trying to do something different. Then you have the Young Bucks who are doing the same shit they've been doing every time they turn heel since 2008. And it's fucking bullshit. It was
fucking
bullshit
tassels.
then, and it's bullshit now.
Real quick, to add on to the Kenny Omega thing, I'm so tortured about him because I think he's leaps and bounds the best in-ring performer in the world. Okay, I think all time, honestly, for me, I think he's in a small category.
Is a lot closer now than it was 5 years ago.
Okay,
yeah,
and maybe because of age.
No.
What? Wait. Say that again now.
The conversation is a lot closer to who the best wrestler in the world is now than it was 5 years ago. 5 years ago, it was Kenny Omega, and nobody was in the same fucking zip code.
Who's close to him now, you think, in your opinion? Just real quick.
I would obviously put Tetsuya Naito in that conversation.
Okay.
I would probably put Will Ospreay in that conversation.
Okay.
I would probably put... Kazuchika Okada can go out there and have a 5-star match anytime he fucking wants to.
Yeah.
I
also kind of belongs in that talk.
Anyway, my point. Anyway,
honestly, if we're just talking in-ring talent, not talking level of push and shit, fucking Rey Fenix belongs in that conversation. The fact that they haven't turned that man yet into their Rey Mysterio shows complete and utter failure in planning for a talent.
Right. Anyway, real quick.
Real
quick. So, like I said, I'm very tortured with him because I think he's I'm newer to the Omega bandwagon than you are. You guys haven't seen him for years. I've only been really ingratiated with him for the last 2 years. And to me, he's just incredible. To me, when I look at all-time greats, I've watched wrestling for 30-something years. He's in my small top tier of wrestler I've ever seen in ring. But the fucking gimmick is just so fucking annoying. It's so cheesy. So cheesy.
I've been watching Kenny Omega since back when he was John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. And so I can tell you that, he can play different characters. He actually is a really talented guy in that way, but he hams it up a lot, and he's a little corny, and I think it's a natural thing. And honestly, in a way, as a fan, I almost find it endearing because I'm just it's fun, But when he was
corny, as a face.
When he was doing the cleaner in New Japan, that was the perfect role for him, because there he was. You put him in black, you give him sunglasses, you let him look like a badass, which is what he is in the ring. He's a badass. You let him do that, and you basically stop him from being too corny, which is the one thing that Gato has done successfully in the last 10 years of booking, is get Kenny Omega to not be too corny. Nobody's stopping him in AEW from that. In fact, I think they're like fueling the flames to him. Like, I feel like he shows up and he's like, hey, Tony, I'm going to pretend to be the bad guy in an episode of my Miami Vice this week. And Tony Khan's just like, fucking bet. Let's do it. Like, and you need someone telling him right now, this isn't working. Like, we want you to be a badass. We don't want you to be fucking corny. Like, honestly,
or too corny.
This isn't Birds of Prey. You're not fucking Ewan McGregor. Like, I don't know what you think you're doing, but it's not working.
Last word, Mike.
So I saw a tweet, and this might be the truest tweet I've seen in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Quote.
The truest tweet that's ever tweeted?
The tweet said, quote, Pac is just as good in ring as Kenny Omega.
Fact.
The fact that they're not doing more with him is a travesty and a waste of time and assets. The fact of the matter is, if you wanted to make this a bigger global entity, Pac would be in the title picture and potentially be the guy that takes the title off of Kenny Omega. And the fact that this isn't even a conversation is an absolute waste.
I agree with that.
You agree with that? Mike, you agree with that? Okay.
There's a lot. Honestly, that's the thing. There's a lot of guys in AEW. Like I said, Rey Fenix, Penta, like basically the entirety of Death Triangle. Like, you put them into a group so that they have something to do. They should be like your main event scene. They should not just be in a group so that they have something to do. There's something wrong with that. Like, they're not even seriously in the tag team conversation. You know what I mean? Like, we really had Pac and Rey Fenix like fighting the Young Bucks.
That's just bullshit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, honestly, at the end of the day, it's one of those things where you can tell that like AEW has so much talent and they don't know what to do with half of it. And mind you, I enjoyed fucking Dynamite this week. I was a big fan of the show, but I'm still not going to sit here and act like they don't have loads and loads of talent that just aren't getting used in a good way.
Are they still technically Death Triangle? Because I know Penta's doing this thing with this translator dude, Rey Fenix.
Yeah, they're still technically.
Every time Pac and Rey Fenix are out there as a tag team, they call them Death Triangle.
Yeah.
I mean, the two of them could be Death Triangle, and Penta could be doing his own thing. But here again, lack of communication to your fan base makes things confusing.
This is where, at least, this is where I give WWE credit. They're a lot better at that than any other.
Yeah, because if you miss the first 5 minutes of the show, you'll see it 13 more times. But everyone wants to complain about it. But hey, you didn't have to sit through a 45-minute segment where someone turned heel on someone. Here's a 7-second review of it 3 times within the show.
Tony Khan, are you listening to Mike?
So we know what the fuck's going on.
Right. I totally agree with you. Okay. Let's go to the next topic. I think we're going to go with Joe's now. Joe?
Sure.
Yours is interesting.
Is it, though?
Yeah,
okay.
it is.
So mine is easy. Actually, and there's a little twist to it, right? So it's draft night for the NFL, as you guys know. I was only made aware of this because the straight guys of the show were like all excited. So that's a thing. So I figured, since it is draft night, why don't we have a draft topic? Because, and I didn't want to do just a normal draft. We've done that before to various degrees of success. I figured what we would do.
Good. One of them we need to redo because it was really bad.
So what I figured is I would put this out there, and this isn't a draft. Like, I'm not asking us to draft against each other in this. I'm just asking for your top 3 picks for anyone. Like, it doesn't matter. We can all pick the same 3 people. That's fine. But I'm going to want reasons behind each of your picks, okay?
I think 3 separate people from you guys, so fuck you.
We'll say it again?
I'll be drafting 3 people that you guys don't draft. Just so I can have a reason.
That's cool. So, all right. So picture it, all right? Connecticut, 1988.
1918.
So we're going to, if you're the WWE and it's 1988 and you can draft any 3 wrestlers on the planet to build your future around as WWF, right? Who are you drafting? But here's the twist, okay? You have 100% awareness of everything that happens in these guys' careers. This is 1988. We live in the year 2021. You have full hindsight. You know everything that's going to happen. You know that Hogan's going to make a sex tape in 20 years, and then you really can't have him host WrestleMania. You know that Shawn Michaels is going to lose his smile in a decade. You know I guess like 5 years, and then lose his back in a decade. You know, like, all of these things. You know that Sting is Sting. You know that the Ultimate Warrior is the Ultimate Warrior. Who are you picking? Who are your top 3 picks? And I'm going to let you guys go first.
Apparently, it's not just WF. It's anything, any company?
Anything, any company. Ooh. If they were wrestling in 1988, you can pick them. And mind you, they don't have to be main eventers in 1988. But if they existed in 1988 and you want to get, you want to get your trademark on them, you want to get them into the fold so that you can build them for the future, and you get to know that they can be a success or not, Like, at the end of the day, like, don't say Terry Taylor, because we all know the Red Rooster doesn't go anywhere.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, I will definitely take the Blue Blazer.
Okay.
Owen Hart, of course. Rest in peace. And book him better than Vince did. I would have pulled the trigger on a title for him in '94.
Oh, yeah, he should have been champion in '94.
You know what I'm saying? Look in hindsight, especially, yeah. Owen Hart definitely won. You think I'm going to say Macho, because Macho was a champion in '88, actually, but I'm not going to do that, because actually Macho, you could argue after '88, '89, started sliding physically. So you're not going to get his best years. He was still really good, but you're not going to get his best years. Bret Hart. So I'm going to go hard easily here. Bret Hart as well, too. Bret Hart did become the guy at some point in a couple of years. Why 3 guys, though? What the fuck?
Who was your first pick?
3. I had Owen Hart. I had Blue Blazer, should I say.
He went Owen Hart and then Bret Hart.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I want to go HBK, man, but goddamn, he's a fucking headache.
You factually know that for like
he's fucking, but he's so worth the fucking, you know what I'm saying? He's so worth the risk. Fuck it, HBK. Fuck it, because he's too goddamn talented.
I fell asleep while you guys were doing this. Are you guys doing like top 10 entrances on a zip line?
Yes.
That was great. Notice, Mike, I didn't pick Macho.
I noticed that.
And Macho was a champion in '88, for the record.
Okay.
So
he's really excited that he didn't pick Macho. Just
because he assumed right away on Monday when we texted each other about this topic. Oh, it's Macho. Macho's going to be his first pick.
You're stupid not to take him, you moron. What do you mean?
No, Macho fell off after a couple of years, though. You look at San Francisco's career after 90, 91.
Okay.
We're going broad. We're going broad.
Want him to wrestle anymore, because there's been talks that Vince didn't want him to wrestle anymore. The fact of the matter is, if you remember, Savage then came out of retirement with the WCW and was actually like, okay, he didn't put up 5-star matches, but actually had a fairly decent in-ring career for about 4 or 5 years. Remember the WCW?
I don't go that far.
I'll say, actually, in '97, him and DDP were putting on at least 4-star matches.
That was a good feud. But I will say this
feud, and they had some great. That feud made DDP into a star.
Real quick, I did a watch along with my buddy Big Jim, who'll be on this show a couple weeks, hopefully. Mania 7, Warrior and Savage, and it occurred to me doing the watch along that was actually Macho's last really great match in his career, like 5-star match. If you think about it. Find a match after 91, that Mania 7. The Flair match in Mania 8 was good. Wasn't 5-star.
I want to say it like Slamboree or something like that. There's one match that they have that's
not a 5-star.
That's like at least a 4.5-star match.
I can't find a 5-star one though anywhere.
Okay, well, him and Warrior wasn't a 5-star match, to be fair. Like
that match was though. That one was though.
Warriors had one 5-star match. It was at fucking Skydome against fucking Hogan.
Yeah. And even that, I don't know about 5. There's like a 4.5 on the rainbow scale.
Macho Warrior, that Macho Warrior match, that the one in SummerSlam the year later, the one on Mania 7 was a 5-star match, in my opinion.
Well, I'm glad opinions are like asshole. Everybody has them, and some of them stink.
So, okay.
My asshole. No, sorry, go ahead.
So, wait, I'm going to assume that because I'm not picking Bret Hart, and Mike said he wasn't going to pick anyone that we picked anyway.
Brett, the Mike wants to be.
I'm gonna go ahead and shit on Bret Hart for a second as Ernest pick for a second. Why would you go ahead and pick what ends up literally becoming the most boring champion in WWF history?
Because the best there is, best there was, best there will be.
Like,
honestly, I stopped twisted. Okay, I'll take out Brett because
you can have whoever you want.
Definitely Owen.
I'm just saying, like, listen. Bret Hart, you have the hindsight of knowing that yes, he becomes the man because there was nobody else at the time to become the man.
Also,
like, I don't know who else they were going to put the belt on.
Bear in mind,
this is a chance for you to set up somebody who could have been better.
But you're also saying 1988. Okay, 88 there was still a bit of a talent discrepancy at the time. Now, you said 89, then you got another situation.
But who existed?
The caveat here is that you know what their future cares that it started in 88 or 89. You know 25 years are going to be.
Like, I'm sorry, but my number one pick, if I'm doing this with hindsight and knowing that you can avoid the boring years of Bret Hart as champion if you have someone to set up to be champion in his place as a big face guy. I'm taking fucking Sting. Sting this in 1988. Sting is like just about to show up over in NWA in 1988. You get your hands on Sting now. You get your hands on Sting early. He's the guy that they're fucking putting the title on circa 1992. Not Bret Hart. If Sting stayed healthy and all that, and I mean, I know he did get injured at one point during those years, but there's no scenario where I don't see Sting potentially, especially if you got like fucking Hogan the hell out of there, you didn't let him ruin it. Sting would have easily been the man in WWF.
It is worth noting though, when this topic was selected, you said WWF only. You didn't say WCW.
I just said wrestler. I said we're the WWF. You're representing the WWF when you draft.
I didn't know you could choose from the WCW roster until literally minutes ago.
Well, WCW doesn't even exist in 1988. It's the NWA, you loser.
It wasn't 88 actually, technically.
Do you want to repick?
Me?
Yes. Do you want to repick?
Pick up Brett, fucking asshole.
I mean, no, but you like Brett. Like, don't let me be correct.
Brett's boring as shit.
Wrong.
See, HBK again is the headache that's worth having. Can I go tag team? Can I go tag team?
Sure.
Steiner Brothers. Were they on 88? They were on 88, weren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, like I think Scott was like just kind of getting off the ground in 88. And
I know they're around 89, definitely, but 88.
Yeah. So okay. My second pick after Sting, and I feel like I'm gonna make Mike angry again, and I apologize. I think he was Sting in 88, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, right? I'm taking your homeboy, Mean Mark Callis, because I'm gonna tell you, I want to make sure that I've got my hands on the guy that ends up becoming the greatest gimmick in WWF history, and that's the fucking Undertaker. Like, you have your chance to get your hands on him early. I don't know that you even debut him any sooner than 1990. I think he needed the time to kind of, like, really get into his own ring-wise before he could be that character. But I think you sign him when you can. You sign him young, and you develop him from there. So I would have gotten my hands on him for sure.
I mean, the best answer to this whole entire fucking panel, but I haven't heard Mike's yet.
One doesn't anger me as much as she thought it would, Craig. Or Jeff.
I'm glad for that. My third pick, and I just doing the math, doing all that, and I'm going to agree with Ernest. I would take HBK because at the end of the day, you do know what you end up getting with HBK. And yeah, it's a lot of heartache and it's a lot of blah, 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 blah. It's a lot of, he loses his smile. He gets beat up. He does whatever the fuck he wants. He literally sort of creates the Attitude Era. So, yeah. I mean, I'm going to give him that credit. And at the end of the day, he leaves in 98 and he's gone for a while, but then he comes back and has some of the best matches in WrestleMania history. He's over there now kind of helping develop NXT. I mean, hell, he's the reason why like guys like Daniel Bryan are even pro wrestlers. He was like the guy's trainer back in the early 2000s. There's no scenario where I don't see HBK as an asset, even with the bad attitude.
Kind of shocked you picked him because I thought you might take one man Hakeem.
You know, I mean, he was number 4. He was a strong next consideration. You know, he was white.
Allegedly.
Leave my ass.
White African from Chicago.
All right. Can we just? What did you think Rich Swann was? Like, were you expecting an Italian Guido from Jersey? Just like, hey, I'm Rich Swann.
Like a white guy.
Hey,
Rick Swann's like a white guy name. Rick Swann, like black guy, nice champion. A lot of black champions going on here in these promotions, except AEW.
All night long, baby. All right, Mike. Now, you can't take Rich Swann. He was not yet born in 1988.
I know. I can't take Rich Swann, obviously.
Okay. So to help myself out, because obviously I was born in 1988.
That's right. You were born in 88. You fucking old ass.
You're on the board.
I'm going to go completely, like, straight beaten path here. And I think that this is something that a lot of people are going to be very intrigued. My number 1 overall selection is none other than a former Intercontinental Champion and a man who should have been the World Champion in my mind. And that is none other than Ravishing Rick Rude.
I respect it. I respect it. I like that one.
My second pick is another former Intercontinental Champion. A guy who had all the intangibles in ring that could have been a world champion, but was not.
Who it is?
Who is it then?
Kurt Hennig?
Absolutely perfect.
Yeah. Yep. He debuted in 88 too, by the way, in with Vince. So
last but certainly not least, this guy has arguably the greatest WrestleMania match under his belt.
Braun Strowman?
I am taking Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
What's funny, he left the company in 88 too.
I'm going straight in ring. I'm going to everyone.
You crush our list, dude, to be honest.
Up until the last guy, I thought all 3 of them were going to be dead, which is sad.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, Ricky's alive and well, man.
I was like, Texas Tornado. Wait, what?
No. Kerry Vaughn?
My honorable mention, if I was going to go with someone other than Ricky, probably would have been Jake the Snake Roberts.
That was mine also, too, honorable mention as well.
I think Jake would have been one of those guys you could have cut promos on tap and get people to come.
Yeah.
So he was on my short list. Obviously, Savage was on my short list. But I just felt like the 3 of them, honestly, another guy, complete short list, just look down at the page here, and obviously the $1 Million Man.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think if Steamboat had stayed with WWF in like 88, if he hadn't left after WrestleMania, after winning the IC title, do you think he might have been like a potential? And I know back then it was hard to get to the world title if your name wasn't Hogan. But do you think he would have gotten to basically that level? Do you think he would have been like even Tito Santana almost got there?
Probably not.
He would have had a title match. He would have fought heel Savage for the title.
Yeah.
He would have a long champion, IC champion number 1. He'll have been like the trademark IC champion.
Yeah. He would have held that title for a while, but then once Savage got the title as a heel, he would have had a title match against Savage.
Right.
I mean, what's interesting too is like if he stayed in WWF, if this was real and like you had signed him and he stayed, he never ends up having the matches with Flair.
True.
None of us picked Ric Flair.
I thought of that too.
I really just was like, hold on, how the fuck did I take Steamboat and I didn't take fucking Flair? Like, what am I doing with myself?
And then there's like, but like if history plays out, then like other than like what we have changed potentially just now, but if history plays out from there and Flair still shows up in 92 and wins the title, Steamboat is a clearly obvious guy for the potential because they will still have had history from like the 70s and early 80s. Because remember, they were out there fighting in Mid-South and Mid-Atlantic and all that. So they already had, if you, I think I've seen places like if you ask Flair and Steamboat with their best matches, it's not any of those 3 really famous matches. It's some like random match that they had, one of the like 1,000 nights that they had a match back in the late 70s. So it's kind of interesting to think like if Steamboat was around then and was at that level, when Flair comes in, would he have not ended up being someone that he ended up defending the title against? I think probably, very likely. Even.
It's funny. Steamboat's situation is one of the biggest what ifs in history of wrestling because he has that obviously the amazing match with Savage that includes the build up to that match. Okay, yeah. You think in '87 that this is gonna be a long champion because Steamboat was way over at that time too. He was one of the biggest faces in the company after Hogan. Mm-hmm. And then 3 months later, he drops out of Honky because he has to go away with his wife because she's having a baby and stuff, and he wanted to be off the road and all that. That, him giving the belt up to Honky changed so much in that company the next year. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest what ifs in the history of the company. By the way, my other honorable real quick also too, I'm surprised you guys. British Bulldog.
I had one more honorable mention that I almost took over Steamboat, and I talked myself out of it, and it was Lex Luger.
Really?
Lex Luger, early days in NWA.
I don't hate it.
I liked him.
The West champ. He was really good.
No, I don't hate it.
Look, as a kid, I bought into even like the Lex Express and all that. Like I in hindsight understand why WWF never made him their world champion. But as a kid, I was always like, what the fuck? Why isn't he world champion?
You need some charisma. You need charisma. Didn't have it.
What we should have done is we should have done 88, like 93, 98, and then like 2000.
That's fine. That's future topics, though. That'll be a take down the road. In 2 weeks, I'll bring up a 1991 or 1993 one.
Could say we could have done 5 years to like build our roster based off of, because the thing is obviously, okay, these 3 are the guys that are going to lead it, and then they're going to transition to these guys, and it's going to transition to these guys,
right?
And then transition, because obviously I drafted 3 guys that are out of the business completely by 1997.
Yeah.
Rick Rude is not wrestling anymore by 97. Hennig is there for a couple months before he passes away, and Steamboat is done by what, 94?
Yeah, Steamboat was done pretty early.
94. Perfect. I think Hennig actually wrestled into 2003. Also. He was still wrestling, but
Hennig makes it to 2003. Rude is done and
done 99.
That's what I'm saying. Right. He was done in ring though by like 93, 94. Was then a manager EX, and then he went to the NWO, and then when they released him, he passed away shortly after that. And then Steamboat's done in the ring by 93, 94.
Yeah.
All right.
Good 5 or 6 year run there, but I knew that I was gonna have to get some real like youth in there very quickly. Like if you would have told me, oh, okay, so now you can go back and you can use the rosters from like 1993. Like I would have been like, okay, now I need to go get, obviously you guys have taken Brett and Owen and stuff like that. So now it's like, okay, I need to go get Diesel.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, 1993, I'm looking at WCW's roster at that point. Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Well, obviously, give me the
Pillman.
Give me Diesel and give me Razor.
Yeah. WCW's talent on the roster in 1993 is comparable with WF, if not better.
I do think one interesting thing, and I'm just realizing it as Mike was saying what he was saying about, like, Steamboat and Rude being done by, like, 93, 94. One of the reasons why sometimes it's so shocking nowadays to look and be like, oh, shit, Randy Orton's been wrestling for, like, 20 years now and stuff, is because when we were growing up, like, Steamboat was around for 3 years, Like, Rude was around for, like, 8 years. Big Boss Man was around for what? Maybe about 8 years.
10 years. 10 years.
Yeah, like we're all kind of used to wrestlers being a big deal, and then not even necessarily being a big deal for the entirety of that time, and only being around for like a couple of years, and then usually either jump into the other company or kind of just falling off of the face of the planet. So really, like, it's the more recent generation. Is like, this is the first time where you have guys who are like veterans, but they're veterans that have literally been on TV for 25 years. You know, the Undertaker is someone who we watched his entire career. You know, there's not a lot of guys that we could say that about where it spanned 30 years.
So true. This is a nice topic. We probably should do every so often, honestly.
Longevity with Sting.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's very true.
I mean, I think you would have had good longevity out of Owen had everything not happened, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, so I think you would have been just fine taking Owen there. But from a standpoint, and I'll send you guys this link I just found because I googled the 1988 WWE roster. It actually gives you the roster every year on a drop-down menu that you can actually see the full roster. So if we use this again, like I'm looking at the 1993 one right now, and it's like you just look at the roster and it's like, oh, I forgot that the Red Knight was on the WWE roster, or the 1-2-3 Kid was on the roster. You know, obviously we knew what the 1-2-3 Kid became, but it's like, damn, he was on the roster in '93. Then you think back to it, and you're like,
right,
was like,
yeah.
Execution.
How about '95? Isaac Yankem. You know.
Can I just say, because Ernest just brought up King Kong Bundy, one of the biggest things that I realized as an adult is that King Kong Bundy was not as large as I thought he was as a kid. Because, like, I swear to God, in my head, they had built him up to be, like, Earthquake or, you know, Andre the Giant. And then you look now, and it's like, wait, Hulk Hogan's, like, an inch or two taller than he is.
Yep.
What am I missing?
Yep. That is so true. So true.
But yeah, no, we can revisit this sometime with, like, some of the other years, because I think that's a fair point.
I'll do it next week.
I'm not promising to dedicate my topics to it, but I think it's a fair thing to potentially revisit for sure.
I think it's 5 guys this time, to be honest.
I also think that we're in a spot right now, and you know, I could be wrong, but this is the equivalent to me of like the baseball offseason for wrestling. We're past WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Don't really have a build for the AEW show because they want to get through the Blood and Guts show. So literally it's like, okay, so we just finished the World Series, and this is like the 3 weeks before free agency starts, and it's everyone's like, who's going to sign here? What are they going to do? It's just like, oh, okay.
To be fair, night 3 of WrestleMania is like next Sunday.
That's true.
So
look at me starting that fucking WrestleMania Backlash bullshit. Fucking hey, dude. Anyway,
I think that's the review name that we've had in the last 10 years. I'd like to introduce you to Great Balls of Fire.
Yeah.
Yo, for real.
I know.
That was real life.
Yeah. All right. Final topic. Mikey, bring it home. We're gonna finish up our maybe not finish it tonight, but next round.
We might be able to get down to the final 4 and then save the final 4 for
Yeah, I do that. I want to do that.
We can deep dive into the final 4. All right. So what we're going to start with the North bracket. We're going to play down to the final 4 here in the North. The 1 seed there, Harlem Heat, they defeated Money Inc. in the opening round. They are taking on the Rock and Roll Express, who defeated Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode.
So,
I'm voting for Harlem Heat. I don't think it's close.
Wait, it's Harlem Heat versus the Rock and Roll Express?
Correct.
So legacy-wise, Rock and Roll Express has this one pretty much in the bag. You would say legacy-wise.
Title-wise, Heat kicks their ass.
Right. And we start going to stats and stuff, that's when it gets really tricky. And I'm going to go bias here. It probably should be Rock and Roll Express, but I won't be that guy to pick it. Booker T, man. Steve Ray, let's go.
All right, well, then my vote doesn't matter, so.
Who would you have
who are you going to pick? Who are you going to pick?
I was going to pick the Rock and Roll Express.
Okay. It's probably the right answer, but I don't know. Never saw him wrestle.
Why would you have taken the Rock and Roll Express?
1, because I thought they at least deserved a vote. 2, because they, to me, are one of the teams that is the most synonymous with tag team wrestling in general. Like you think of tag team wrestling, and they're one of the top 5 teams that comes to mind.
Yeah.
And that's without even necessarily having been a big fan of theirs or having watched a lot of their matches and stuff. Like I said, I grew up as a WWF fan. I did not grow up on the NWA or anything. I've probably seen a grand total of like 10 Rock and Roll Express matches over the years. I would still call them synonymous with tag team wrestling just because they were one of the few teams, them and the Road Warriors, and probably just them and the Road Warriors, that were actually able to become main event acts just like as a tag team, which you couldn't do in WWF. You still can't do in WWF. And I mean, AEW claims you can do it there, but like.
So hold on, wait. So I'm watching Mike as you're saying all this shit. I'm watching Mike on the screen here, and it looks like Mike is trying to change his pick.
No.
Should I take my pick, maybe? Looking up in the air like, oh, maybe I should take my pick. No. I don't know.
I wasn't even. I mean, I was listening, but no, I think all that makes perfect sense, Joe, and I think that's the thing that I always will say here. They were the unfortunate luck of the draw.
Yeah.
I feel like they face anybody else in this North bracket, like the final 4 matchup is Harlem Heat versus the Rock and Roll Express.
Right. Like I'm not mad at Harlem Heat winning, that's for sure. Like it'd been hard for me to vote against them because I am a big Harlem Heat fan. I mean, honestly, prior to the New Day, Harlem Heat are probably like the predominant famous African-American tag team in wrestling history. No offense to any of the other ones. Like I know obviously like my friend Tony Atlas and Rocky Johnson were a big tag team. They were the first champions and such. But like Harlem Heat are like next level, you know? I mean, maybe because they were on TV or whatever, but like they're definitely next level.
Sucker.
The 4-5 matchup in this bracket sees the New Day.
Speaking of,
they get to take on the Legion of Doom.
Motherfucker. Now, here's a question. Legion of Doom / Road Warriors?
Obviously.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I gotta tell you.
How we got
I think on a previous episode.
For Ernest's pick of Too Cool and Legion of Doom over the tag team of Owen Hart and the British Bulldog. That's how we got to this matchup.
Can I just say, I feel like Ernest is that person that calls you on your home phone and the first thing he asks is, "Oh, are you home?" Okay, so
yes.
Anyway.
Factual.
I'm gonna vote for the Road Warriors for basically the same argument that I just made for the Rock and Roll Express, except that I've actually seen a lot more from the Road Warriors and the Legion of Doom because obviously. But I love the New Day, and again, to me, this is another one of those luck of the draw kind of ones.
So I'm with you on that one. I kind of feel like though maybe in a couple of years, if we revisit this argument, maybe it could be the different answer to this. Because I will say New Day now is, 7 years into the run? Longevity. I mean, Road Warriors were together, 10 years? 12 years?
But
New
they
Days.
were literally a main event act. And I mean, I guess
right.
New Day is close to being considered that. But, you know, in WWF.
I will say this much, though. Kofi won a world title 2 years ago. Let's say Big E actually wins a world title next year, hypothetically. I'm not saying we should be grading him on the solo runs, but the solo runs do amplify their tag team though, too in some ways.
Doesn't.
You don't think so?
That's a horrible argument.
So? No,
that's a horrible argument.
Why is that?
Because those are solo runs; they have nothing to do with their tag team work. Like if that's the case, then fucking the Rockers belong at number 1 because Shawn Michaels was world champion.
I guess I didn't explain myself. Not amplify it. I guess it never took away from the tag team. I guess.
Joe, I found the Kenny Omega stat for you of his 4 title defenses.
Okay.
Back from 3 topics ago.
Yeah.
Jesus.
He defended the title against Jack Evans at an AEW Dark show in Indiana.
Yes, I remember that.
Defended against Dragon Lee at Triple Mania Rania at Monterey. Defeated Sammy Guevara on an AEW Dynamite show.
I remember that, yeah.
Defeated Laredo Kid at Triple Mania. So he has 2 in Mexico and 2 on AEW shows. All right. Now I need to use this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Road Warriors on this one, but I think it's a little closer than we get credit for.
Oh, I think it's close. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Oh, there it is.
I think the main event argument you made is actually probably what sets them apart. My argument for the New Day being closer is that they've had, and it probably shouldn't matter like you were saying, but they've had so much success in the process of all this.
That's
Whereas
a weird argument to me, but
I don't know.
anyway, let's next one. Or Mike, who would you have voted for in that one?
I would have voted for the New Day.
Really? State the case.
Over 700 days as tag team champions. They had a pretty good title run of 485 days on the Raw roster. Let's see, 483 days that they were tag team champions. They also defended the title a bunch when they were the champions before losing it to Sheamus and Cesaro.
Yeah.
8 total defense, 8-time champs. I just, the longevity, like, yes, Animal, those guys.
I feel like
good in ring, and they were like the guys, and like that's awesome. But it was from 83 to really like 91, 92 that they were in the title picture of whatever company they were at. Yeah, they had a title run in 97 that was kind of meh.
Yeah.
But I don't really count that run because hey, here you go. Kind of rain. So, okay, they were a tag team steadily for close to 10 years. The New Day's been for about 7, and the thing is the New Day, I think this is because they're a trio, not a tag team.
Yes.
When one of them got hurt, somebody could fill in.
Yeah.
Like when Xavier blew out his Achilles, it wasn't the end of the New Day. You could throw there, and you could still have Ian Kofi win titles. That's no discredit to Legion of Doom for not finding someone that's a good third, because back in the 80s, I would have only wanted them to be a tandem.
Right.
But I just think that the New Day and the way that those guys work together so well, and the fact that you had the powerhouse in E, you had the guy that could fly in Woods, and you had the guy that could do a little bit of both in Kofi.
Yeah.
Just so much balance. So that's probably my main reasoning behind it would have been the fact that they literally have been champions for almost like 800 days.
Right.
Well,
could I argue?
The Legion of Doom did have a third member. Remember, Paul Ellering had that little puppet. It was that guy.
Yeah.
Rocco? Was his name Rocco?
Could I argue, though, New Day, Mount Rushmore faction all time? I mean, three or more is a faction in my No?
I would.
You would?
I mean, in WWE or in general?
Okay, well, let's do WWE first. I mean, you look at factions WWE, you talk about DX, maybe, you talk about The Shield, you're talking about...
I don't even put DX in there. DX is way overrated for what they actually were.
I totally agree with you. I'm just throwing out names.
No, I'd put like New Day and The Shield at least towards the top.
Okay. Mike,
that's
you would?
all of the topic.
Mount Rushmore?
I'm not answering that topic.
Why is that?
Let's go to the next tag match.
Because it could be a topic for later. Why am I going to
okay.
Yeah.
Save again. Okay.
You're right, though.
That's a good point. Good job, Mike.
Legion of Doom.
LOD.
Sorry, I got to write it in on the brackets. Yeah. Steiner Brothers, who defeated...
Can I just say for the record, too, as a kid, I fucking hated the Legion of Doom. Like, when they showed up in WWF, and I was just like, oh my god, like, who the fuck are these guys? I hate them. And then I could never find their action figures. Like, I had every single WWF action
That is
figure
true, actually.
for the life of me. I could not find the Legion of Doom.
Yes, that is true.
And it made me angry.
Either.
Okay.
I had them.
Well, fuck you.
Fucking dick.
The Steiner Brothers, they defeated Doom in the first round. Their opponent is the Wyatt family, or the Bludgeon Brothers of Brody / and Eric Rowan, who defeated the British Bulldogs in their first round matchup. You guys know I'm a big, Brody guy. Been a big Brody guy. I don't think that you can vote.
No.
Steiner Brothers here.
Yeah, no, I love the Wyatt family. I love Brody. I love Eric Rowan. They were a great team together. But the Steiner brothers are legitimately probably one of the top 5 greatest tag teams of all time.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Clean sweep here.
Yeah.
I mean, not even a conversation.
That was an easy one.
Yeah. Move on to the final matchup of the North. It is the Outsiders, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Diesel Razor, whatever the fuck you want to call them this week. Their opponents, the team of Mr. Monday Night, Rob Van, and his partner, Sabu.
Damn.
Let me ask you a question. You've made the answers before in the past. I'll ask you again. How long were RVD and Sabu together for?
I gotta bring the shit back up on my computer.
Fuck.
It wasn't that long, and they kind of feuded with each other at the same time. It was really weird.
It was great.
Yeah. And then I'm thinking, like, they were a great act. They were a great team. I love them together. They kind of also felt like, though, the 2 singles guys that ended up being a team. That's kind of what their vibe
British
was.
Bulldog thing, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's cool, and like, I will. If you ask me right now if I wanted to sit down and watch an RVD and Sabu tag match or an Outsiders tag match, I would choose the RVD and Sabu tag match, probably. Like, depending on who they were fighting, but given the teams that they fought at the time, I would end up choosing them as the match to go with.
Did you know that RVD and Sabu had a match at a pay-per-view for Impact in 2019?
No, I did not, but I'm not surprised.
They wrestled 3 matches in Impact in 2019. The first one was at Impact Wrestling United We Stand from the Rahway Rec Center in Rahway, New Jersey, where
I've been there.
They faced the Lucha Bros.
Are you serious?
And that match went 8 minutes.
You got to find that match somewhere on YouTube.
Or you just sign up for the 2 free months of Impact Plus.
Okay.
Promo. Send you the link.
You can get any Omega fix.
Yeah. Then on the next Impact Wrestling TV show, they teamed up with Tommy Dreamer to take on the North and Moose.
Ooh.
Wow.
And then on the show 2 weeks later from the Melrose Ballroom in New York, they were defeated by the North of Ethan Page and Josh Alexander.
That is interesting.
So, when the last, okay, so they were on the ECW Hardcore TV show on March 13th of 1999.
Okay. I'm going to vote for the Outsiders just based on kind of place in history more than anything else. Because I think if you were going team quality-wise, like I said, like I'd rather watch an RVD and Sabu tag match than an Outsiders tag match. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend that the Outsiders weren't, kind of a cornerstone of wrestling history.
Yeah.
So
it's the same reason I'm going Outsiders too. You're looking at the part of the group that had one of the biggest impacts in wrestling history. Literally.
Like when you think of the NWO, like at heart, it's Hogan, it's Hall, and it's Nash. It's Hogan and the Outsiders. It got so overbloated from there. It got so blown up, yada, yada, yada. But let's take it to heart. It's Hogan and the Outsiders.
And straight up.
It's in history.
And straight up, they were the first ones before Hogan. They were the first ones. It was first Scott Hall coming down the fucking ramp, and then it was...
I mean, literally, they were called the Outsiders for a reason.
Okay. Yeah, I would have voted RVD and Sabu.
I know you would have.
I wouldn't have been mad at that. I really wouldn't have.
Hey, hold on, Ernest. Why do you think I voted RVD and Sabu then? Since you knew that's where I was going.
I don't know. Gotta be different.
You can't say you know and then say you don't know.
I mean, it's not to be different. It's the fact that when you look at outsider tag team matches, you tell me the list of great outsider tag team.
I don't disagree with you. In fact, I was telling Joe it had nothing to do with the in-ring product. It has to do with the impact, more than anything else.
Point is, tag team wrestling. It's not tag team, hey, you stood in a ring while Hulk Hogan cut a 45-minute promo about taking out the trash. It wasn't about hopping a guardrail and throwing a toothpick at some jobber's face and telling him to get the fuck out the ring. Or jackknife powerbombing Eric Bischoff off the stage.
That was fun though.
Oh, sure, it was great. It was awesome watching Eric Bischoff take a bump that Mae Young took better 7 years later. But I digress.
Ray Dudley.
I personally think, from an in-ring perspective, RVD and Sabu were better quality workers, and that's why I think it gives them the nod over the Outsiders. It's not taking anything away from Nash's places in history, because yes, arguably the greatest stable of all time is the cornerstone are the two of them and Hogan. Obviously, down, not even a fucking question. But at the end of the day, it was like having a 2x4 and a spray tanned 4x8, sitting in a corner with Hulk Hogan in the middle cutting a promo.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, by the end of Scott Hall's run as an outsider, the guy was more fucked up than half the guys that just got drafted in the NFL that are doing lines of cocaines at parties.
Yeah, I don't even think that he wrestled in their match where they lost the tag belts. I think they had Buff Bagwell in there or something.
That's almost why that's more or less why I would probably vote for RVD and Sabu, is because
no, it's it's not only is it a valid argument, but it's probably what's going to stop me from voting for the Outsiders in whatever
Moving
the
forward.
next one is. Because
I don't see him going further than this.
It sounds like they're going to end up running up against the Steiner brothers in the next round, and we're going to correct history, and the Steiner brothers are going to win that one. Y'all motherfuckers, the Steiner brothers are going to win that one. Earnest, I will hunt you down and beat your ass.
I'm the one that fucking... Shut up. I'm the one that said they might win this whole fucking thing in the first place.
All right, let's just get to that matchup then, since we already know where this is going.
Whoa. Is it the Final Four?
No, this is it. We're going to North bracket, then we're going to go to the South bracket. Genius.
Okay.
I said.
Okay.
Christ. He doesn't pay attention.
No.
He doesn't. All right, we'll start Steiner Brothers versus the Outsiders.
Goodbye.
I think this one's going to be a clean sweep.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the Steiner
you
brothers.
Say queen
Come on.
sleep?
Yes.
Queen sleep. It's a sweep. Absolutely. Not a question.
It's such a sweep. It has Kenny Omega's girls coming out before it. Yes.
Yeah. All right. The other matchup: Harlem Heat take on the Legion of Doom.
Again, it's the same thing. See, this is actually much easier to realize. It's Legion of Doom.
Wait. Don't vote yet. Wait. Okay. Count at 3. Let's all vote at the same time. All right. Ready?
Count.
1, 2, 3.
Harlem
LOD.
Legion of Doom. I mean, the legacy thing. That's all. It's close, probably, but I don't.
How do you say it's close? And the first thing you said was it's not even close.
I was thinking about it again with the years and stuff. I was thinking, no.
Fucking comparable sentence.
I said longevity, then I thought, well, look back with how many years they were together, and I was like, oh wait, I said closer than I thought.
Legion of Doom were also just badasses. I don't know. I'll take the LOD.
LOD, Ben. I'm sleepy. Let's go.
All right. Let's go. Where are we going? To the South?
Go to the South.
I've been in the South recently.
Yeah, you visit me, fucker.
Up the 1 seed, Bubba Ray and Devon, the Dudley Boys. They're taking on the Gangstas, New Jack and Mustafa. How we got here: the Dudley Boys defeated the Hollywood Blondes. The Gangstas defeated Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. Yeah, cool. I'm gonna take the Dudleys.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah,
same. Queen sweep. That's not even close.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Gangstas, but the Dudleys kind of did a better version of the Gangstas.
How do you say that? The Gangstas?
Gangstas.
I just love
no hard R.
Life.
I love the fact that Ernest just keeps on saying it's not even close, and then when he starts to think about it, he goes, "Wait a minute, it's close."
No, the last one was closer because I was about the years together.
Not even close, but you know what? It might be close.
Might be close.
It might be as close.
I'm Stugazzi in this whole fucking thing.
Fuck. The next matchup, the 4-5 matchup, the 4 seed, Paul London and Brian Kendrick take on the Nasty Boys.
God.
London and Kendrick defeated the Impact players in the first round. The Nasty Boys defeated the Bushwhackers. See, this is something where if Ernest had a comparable list, that we would actually be able to put teams that could make deep runs a la the New Day and RVD and Sabu and those guys. We're going to put them in the lower half instead of teams like the fucking Bushwhackers, moron.
Hey.
All right. I'm assuming Ernest doesn't even know who Paul London and Brian Kendrick are.
Probably not.
Say it again.
Do you know who Paul London and Brian Kendrick are?
I know the names. I remember the matches.
Okay, so you're voting for the Nasty Boys.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
What are you guys going for first? You guys go first.
No, but Ernesto.
I'm curious. You guys go first, and I'll. Just in case I'm maybe tiebreaker, then I gotta fucking put more pressure on myself.
Well, I'm voting for Paul London and Brian Kendrick because fuck the Nasty Boys.
Okay,
Like
Mikey?
I watched a show the other day. What show did I watch? I think it was like a WCW Saturday night, and there was a Nasty Boys match, and I was just kind of like, oh yeah.
You were grossed out.
No, I was definitely just like they're not bad. They work really well in their act, and they were a fun team. But they were the Nasty Boys. Like I don't know how to quite explain it. They were just kind of
they're third tier tag team. That's all.
They were kind of cheesy and corny, and like I get my fill of that with Kenny Omega. So I'm good on the Nasty Boys. And also too, Paul London and Brian Kendrick were like the best act to not exist in NXT because they existed 5 years too soon.
Mike, where are you going with this one?
You said you weren't voting for the Nasty Boys. I thought we were just moving on.
I didn't say anything yet. I said that you guys go first, and
Hold on.
Hold on what? I said you guys go first, and I'll...
Not say when you asked him, are you voting for the Nasty Boys? Was his response not no?
It was no.
It was no.
That means you're voting for London and Kendrick, you moron. This guy's literally making my head hurt.
I'm fucking sleepy, dude. Let's go. Move this on. London and Kendrick.
Please, when we text you at like 3 p.m., you're just as dumb.
What are you talking about?
Come on.
Next up, 3-6 matchup. The 3-seed Demolition take on the 6-seed of the Eliminators of John Cronus and Perry Saturn.
I was singing to myself. Who was the first team?
Demolition.
Oh, okay.
That's who, Perry Saturn, who else?
John Cronus, the Eliminators.
God, they were such a fucking good tag team.
Demolition, next.
Yeah, fuck you. I'm going to vote for the Eliminators because
there you go.
Like that dismissive.
Apply a lot of pressure on that shit. Let's go.
Mike, it's on you.
The short one said to the other one, the other team. Let's go.
Now, bear in mind, if you vote for Demolition, Ernest will be happy. So...
Yeah, I was already filling the Eliminators in on the bracket because fuck you, Ernest.
There we go.
That's for you. 2-7 matchup. Jimmy and Jay, the Usos, versus Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, the Rockers. Feel free to use that Shawn Michaels that thought process here or there, bud.
I might do that. Don't tempt me.
Go ahead.
A good time.
All ears. I want to see how bad you fuck this one up too.
I mean, Marty had a decent solo run, right?
I had a better than Marty Jannetty, and I have
Usos here. Usos.
No, I'm gonna vote for the Rockers. And not to be just
you're a fucking fanboy. That's why you're fucking Rockers. Shawn Michaels fanboy.
Like honestly, the Rockers were such a great tag team that most people don't even realize they were never champions.
They were for a day, then Vince wiped it out.
No, that didn't count. It's not in the records.
Yeah,
For who?
I'm voting for the Usos. I really like the Rockers. I really like them as a team, and I feel like they would have gotten my vote against probably anybody else in the lower half of this bracket outside of the Dudley Boys. But
it's
yeah,
good, Oos. It's good, Oos.
Yeah,
I got you, Oos.
Elite 8 matchup: Dudley Boys versus Paul London and Brian Kendrick.
Oh come on, let's go to the Final Four. This is bullshit.
That's the Dudley Boys.
We're doing this now, dude. Really doing this? Fucking
damn.
Seriously? It's Paul London. Let's go. Joking. Come on now.
Eliminators versus the Usos.
Eliminators.
Usos.
Ugh.
Don't poop.
That wasn't even close to being my pooping noise.
You hang out with too many people under the age of 7. Your natural response was, "Oh God, he's gonna shit." Like that's.
He's like, don't poop.
He made a noise. Oh God, like that was scary.
I mean, this is a lot closer than people would realistically think. The Eliminators were together for probably 5 years.
Yeah.
93 to 97 until Saturn left and went to WCW.
Good.
And mind you, they still the Eliminators was still the best thing that Saturn was ever involved in, and he went on to be in all like WCW and WWF, and still like that was his best thing. The Eliminators was hands down his best thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, it definitely was. But from a longevity standpoint, the Usos have really been together basically besides their entire life as brothers.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been a tag team wrestling for 13 years. They've been in WWE for 11 years. It's hard to go against something that's been working like that for so long. They're 6-time champs. They've held the titles for 600 days. So I think I have to vote for the Usos here. And I think it's simply just from the standpoint of if Saturn never signs with WCW and stays in ECW with Cronus, I think this conversation's a lot closer than where we're at right now.
Yeah, and Saturn would have had a lot more bounce checks.
And he probably also wouldn't have gone like rogue.
Yeah, he's alive, right? Like just people don't know where he is.
People know where he's at right now.
We've located Saturn.
Yes, that was.
What about Moppy?
Don't know about Moppy.
God damn.
All right, Final Four set. Next week's topic: Legion of Doom versus the Steiner Brothers, Dudley Boys versus the Usos. Bring it to the table hard next week because we're going in depth. We're going.
I'm gonna need stats for the Usos, especially too, to make this a case. Just saying. I need some stats on this one. Who are they going against? It's Steiners against who else again?
Legion of Doom.
God damn, that one's tough.
Yeah, you better do some research.
That's what I'm saying. That's gonna be the fucking.
You better sign into Peacock.
Peacock, cagematch.net. Look up some stats. Do some research. Do some investigating.
Are you trying to get Ernest like head to explode? That website's in German. He's never gonna figure it out.
I mean, I figured it out.
Yes. Like I said, are you trying to get Ernest's head to explode? That website's in German. He's not going to figure it out.
I can't confirm or deny anything about what my intents are of this mission. Look.
All right. Before we get going, what do you love this week, Joe?
Oh, man. I'm actually going to go outside of the world of wrestling, and I'm just going to say it really simple, right? Anthony Hopkins.
Fuck.
83 years old. And he had just stole an award from someone that we all really wanted to win. And he isn't even here anymore. He doesn't get another chance. You've won before. You're winning again. And it's not your fault. And you still were just like, Chadwick, I love you. Even though, like, you probably never even met him. You tried, though. It's not your fault that you were really good. It's not your fault they want to give you the award. Anthony, I love it for you.
What movie was in again that won the award? Was it No Man Land?
I
heard he fucking did a fantastic job doing that movie.
I'm sure he did, but Chadwick Boseman should have won. I'm just putting that out there.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, you're literally not allowed to disagree. Like, what the fuck?
Why is that? Because you said it?
No, because he's like everyone loves him. He's fucking Black Panther.
Vontae Mack, no matter what.
I don't know what that means.
In the movie Draft Day, Chadwick Boseman plays Vontae Mack.
Oh. Huh.
I didn't see Draft Day, actually.
I forgot about that movie. I saw that. I saw that in theaters. I forgot. Well, like Kevin Costner, right?
Kevin Costner's the GM.
Holy shit. I forgot that movie existed.
Boseman is the guy that he takes #1 overall, and everyone thinks he's crazy for doing it.
Can I also say, for the record, because I was watching the draft before, because you guys were talking about it so much, I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to put it on. But I didn't realize how accurate when SmackDown and Raw would do the scenes, like during their draft, where they'd go to the war room and you would just have a bunch of like white dudes in puffy shirts, like fist bumping and stuff. Like we just got Asuka. Like fuck yeah. Like I didn't realize how accurate that was until I was watching the fucking draft tonight. And it's just like, yeah, we just got that dude who's like gonna pretend he's happy he's a Jet now.
Facts.
He's not.
All right. MVPs. We get going.
All right, I'll make mine easy. Kenny Omega, because like, come on, he just won the Impact title. He's got like 5 belts now. Ultimo Dragon, he's coming for you. All I'm saying. Kenny Omega.
Mike?
No, you go, asshole.
The fuck? You go. I forgot mine.
My is the new Impact Wrestling X Division champion, the walking weapon, Josh Alexander.
That was a great match, by the way. That was one of the best matches on that pay-per-view. That reminded me of classic X Division title matches.
I think that's why he's my MVP.
I'm proud of you.
Mine is Roman Reigns.
God damn it.
Fucking
I'm over him being MVP for
I never picked Roman Reigns before.
half-minute promo. Like,
Not recently. Did I pick Roman Reigns at WrestleMania?
Really?
No. Bianca.
Stat of the day. The fact that every main champion on every fucking show is a heel of all companies. Will Ospreay, heel. Bobby Lashley, heel. Roman, heel. Kenny Omega, heel. Nick Aldis, heel. Jacob Fatu, heel.
Would you rather pick Braun Strowman to piss Joe off?
I would have much rather you pick the fucking hole in the wall than Roman Reigns coming out and cutting a 3-minute promo about telling Bryan Danielson to go fuck himself, basically.
Okay, first of all, the hole in the wall has a name. It's Erica. Second, no, I got it.
Fuck Erica.
Oh, Lord. Sounds personal. Anyway. Well, quick, what do you think? Well, I'm glad you brought it up because the match is tomorrow, actually. Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns on SmackDown. If Daniel Bryan loses, he has to leave the show. What do you see? That's what's a prediction, but
welcome to Monday Night Raw.
Say that again?
Yeah, exactly.
Say it again, Mike. Say it again.
Welcome to Monday Night Raw, Daniel Bryan.
That's what I thought too.
Wasn't there someone else who recently like quit SmackDown and hasn't shown? Oh no, Roderick Strong. He resigned from NXT and hasn't shown up anywhere yet.
I remember my MVP now. It wasn't Roman Reigns. It was Aleister Black. Welcome back. That's what it was.
Okay. So anyway, Roderick Strong left NXT and hasn't shown up anywhere yet. Like honestly, imagine him showing up on Raw and Bryan showing up on Raw and them actually having an 8-minute match that's not as good as if they had a 15-minute match.
Better yet, think of them showing up and being the team that challenges AJ Styles and Osmos for the Raw Tag title.
That'd be awesome.
Speaking of that, I haven't seen those two since Romania.
They've been
everybody has.
In wherever. AJ put a tweet out about it.
Okay. Anyway, we're done. Good night.
All right, next week. Steiner Brothers.
Yes.
All right. Night.
There.